this. Come on, where my backup singers at?
I'm pretty sure you're getting demonetized or something.
Yeah, I think I hoped I cut it soon enough that we wouldn't get demonetized, but clearly that was too on point. Sued for it. But hello everyone and welcome to this, which is most definitely the #1 Xenos poop rocket on the internet. I'm your host, Mr. Pink, otherwise known as Modern Synthesist, and I am joined by my cohorts of co-hosts, starting with Kajan. Want to say good evening, Kajan?
Hi everyone.
Hello. Will, sometimes known as Tactical D-Bag. Want to say good evening, Will?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. And Shane, Voices on Silent. Are you on silent right now, Shane? You want to say good evening?
Oh, am I on silent? I don't know.
No, you're not. You're good.
Oh, it's working.
Amazing.
Hello.
That was actually a problem we had and why we're starting a few minutes late. Also, I had problems too. And Ripley had problems. Ripley had the biggest problems this week. Ripley went out with his dog walker to a beach, and apparently there was broken glass at the beach. Dog walker didn't notice. Ripley came home with cut up paws. It's not.
Wow.
Yeah. Fortunately, Nora is a superhero and it went straight to vet work. And then when she wasn't happy with her work, pressed me into vet work. So we think we like cleaned it out and like put in good shit to keep it from growing bacteria. And we're coning them now, and we put booties on them when we walk them. So I think we headed off at the pass, but it was pretty dramatic.
That's unfortunate.
Well, hopefully, everything's otherwise okay, and
yeah. Well, the good thing is that the dog walker was like really like fastidious and like followed up because they all connect with each other, the different dog walkers. So he followed up with his dog walking pals. And one of them said that they were cleaning up glass from that beach and it was near the water. So some of it might have gotten in the water, and Ripley loves the water. So we think that's what happened. But unfortunate. It is kind of like a crummy beach, though. Kind of like a lot of fill they got. So could be anything. Yeah, that's not interesting. When it comes to hobby, I've done this week and I primed some models. I actually wanted to be painting on the stream, but I haven't fully pre-painted the models to the with them yet. So I'll have to figure something else out. And what I'll probably figure out is turning off my camera and flipping over to the Warhammer community page because there's some nonsense that I wanted to flag for folks. But yeah, me in the hobby, I've been starting on my Visterian gang finally. It's already built because Hydra built them, but like getting them painted and making bases and display. So this is part of the base / display part of it. That's what I did this week. And Shane, what have you been up to this week, hobby wise?
I've been working on the cyborg bear, the cyber bear, the cybear.
As one does.
Cyber.
I got some river troll ears that I'm adding to him since he's supposed to be a Cathelian cud bear, and they have like funny fish ears.
That sounds adorable.
Does sound adorable. So, thank you for sharing that. Will, what have you been up to hobby-wise?
Other than getting some preliminary concepts for, the upcoming month, I've been working on my big transport tank bug malefactor thing here that you guys can see here. So just gonna be working some more. As always, I apparently ended up giving myself a lot more sculpting work than I had originally planned and really wanted to partake in. But that's sometimes those are the sacrifices we make.
As one does. I always tend to underestimate and then over deliver whenever I'm sculpting something for like a commission. Like, oh, I did not think I was going to use this much green stuff when I priced this. Oh no.
Yeah, that's been my hobby week.
Great, thank you for sharing. Kajan, how's your hobby week been?
My hobby week was well. I would make a water sports joke, but
Is it raining again?
no, I was mostly working with silicone, and so a lot of pouring of silicone and mold making.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not really exciting stuff, because it's like you mix it up and then you have to wait and have no place to put it, so your whole work desk is occupied by it.
So a good time for reading, catching up on your reading
Yeah, something like that.
while you're waiting.
I'm still I'm currently reading again the one of the Cassius Kane books, the one with the Tau, and where they fight the Gene Stealer called. I'm blanking on the title right now. But yeah, sorry, I didn't catch that one.
Does someone else know the title? I don't.
I think it's For the Greater Good.
That's fine.
I would have to.
For the Greater Good is the name of the song, or the book, or it's For the Greater Good that no one can remember?
No, the book title is, I believe, For the Greater Good.
Cool.
But I tend to mix them up, and I don't want to go over and pick my e-reader right now, because hands dirty and stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah, but it's a good story. At least I think it's a good story, and it features gene stealers and an impending Tyranid invasion.
Nice. Okay, because I'm nothing if not someone who definitely wants to spin this niche within a niche YouTube channel out into something like a media channel. But you said you were talking about books, and there's just a couple of book things that came up this week that I want to make sure people are aware of if they follow my taste in stuff. That's on it. So this, I think, when is it coming out? About this week?
Smiley.
What's that?
Dan Smiley just donated.
Oh shit!
Yacht Fund.
Where is my? Oh, I've got too many windows. Oh, Dan Smiley, thanks, buddy. Oh, sweet. I think that was Dan's first super chat. How do I? Can I like it? Oh, someone else liked it. Not allowed to like it. I do like it in my heart. There we go. I put my. Thank you, Dan. Dan, you got a question for us? This is the thing with a super chat. You can't just give people a super chat. You have to ask them a question, and they have to answer it. So this is your chance, buddy. Because certainly we wouldn't ever answer people's questions on the stream without paying. Like we do all the time.
You just opened yourself up to some
Oh,
dangerous lines of info.
Dan, I'm touched that I could be your first buddy. First super chat. I know when I gave away my super chat virginity to someone, it was a magical experience for me. I hope it's a magical experience for you.
Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure if that's how paid price works, because usually we are the one that have to pay for the praise.
I have no idea. Gonna pull this up. So this one of my favorite authors of all time is Neil Stephenson.
Before you move on, he asked a question.
Oh shit! Yeah, go ahead.
And he said, okay, what is the stuff you add to green stuff that makes it more workable for you both?
All right, Dan, good question, buddy. You want to go to you donated in Canadian dollars. Does that mean you're Canadian, Dan? Because if you're Canadian, you need to go to Sculpture Supply Canada. Sculpture Supply Canada on the interwebs, And these guys are in Toronto, but they ship across Canada. So you want to go check them out, and you want to, on their site, you want to look up epoxy sculpt. This stuff is freaking fantastic. It's what you mix with your green stuff. You could get 1 pound of the stuff for $34.95. Or you could go crazy and be like, I'm going to use this for the rest of my life and get 4 pounds for only $62. That'll last you forever. But 1 pound is the one in that picture, the one on the left. And that's a lot more than green stuff. Like, so yeah, that's what I would recommend you mix with your green stuff to help extend it a bit. And it really makes the texture of it much more satisfying. Other people have used other stuff like Milliput.
Dirty heathens.
The dirty heathens like Kajan use Milliput.
Hello, I'm that heathen.
You can mix that with green stuff. Anything that is like a clay for sculpting miniatures, like a 2-part epoxy kind of thing. I think you can mix all of them together and experiment with different textures. In fact, someone did that on the internet. Did a whole study on
wasn't it?
Is it Vermis?
It was Vermis that did that, right?
I'm not sure, but
oh, and
possibly.
Dan, if you've been using Milliput, mixing it with green stuff will make the Milliput 1,000 times more pleasant. So you should just go for that. But yeah, that definitely works. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the question. And Kajan, thank you for stopping me there.
Yeah, I would like to add on to that that you should mix it for what purpose you need it, because like right now I'm not mixing mine because I want it to be a little bit rubbery and less easy to break details. So
yes.
it's not the case that you should always mix it. But it's a cost saving, and you can also put like 10%, about 10% of polymer clay into it, and it will still work. It's like a filler you can do.
Yeah, Simon used to do that. He would take a little bit of Emo Superfine and mix it in with his green stuff. But as you said,
I also do that.
It has to be a very little amount because if you put too much, it'll affect the ability of the other putties to cure.
Yeah, or rather the endothermic reaction of the self-curing epoxy will not cure the polymer clay. But if you're working on large sculptures, it's a good idea to add a little filler into it, because the costs get prohibitive.
Yeah, yeah. So epoxy sculpt is really good for. You can use it on its own. It's excellent on its own still. I feel like when you mix up epoxy sculpt, texture is kind of like a softer plasticine, sort of, and like the way it like cuts and shapes is a little plasticine to me. But you can get a sharp edge on it. But yeah, it's great for doing big things because it's much cheaper than green stuff, as Kajan was noting. And that's one of the benefits of mixing epoxy sculpt with green stuff, is that you don't spend as much of the expensive green stuff as you do epoxy sculpt, which is cheaper. But yeah, like Kajan said, different putties have different properties. So green stuff is a rubbery kind of putty, and you can easily cut through it. If it's pure green stuff, you can easily cut through it with an X-Acto knife or something like that. You wouldn't need a saw. But it is more flexible. It's more rubbery. So I've told people that if they want to sculpt something that sticks away out from a model, first of all, if you're doing it from scratch, make sure there's a wire or a pin inside of that. But I would do that in pure green stuff, because if it's sticking out, it's likely to get caught and it could be snagged and have to bend back into shape because it's more rubbery. But if you were to do that with, say, epoxy sculpt, it's more brittle than green stuff, and it's not as like structurally tough as Milliput. So if you did a sticky outy thin thing with epoxy sculpt and you snagged it, it would crack right off. Epoxy clay is a little stronger for that. But conversely, if you want to pin into something, you want to like drill a hole and stick a pin in, you're going to want to use something that's harder, like the epoxy sculpt or the Milliput, not the green stuff, because drilling into rubber isn't always that effective. So it's like there's different things that you can trade off, and then if you mix them together, it blends the two properties. So epoxy sculpt mixed with green stuff will be slightly more flexible than pure epoxy sculpt. Whereas green stuff mixed with epoxy sculpt will be more structurally sound, more able to be drilled and pinned than pure green stuff. And if you want like maximum backing for drilling and pinning, I would go with Aves. The same people who make epoxy sculpt make something else called epoxy clay, and it's harder to drill into and like support stuff. Harder in that it supports better because it's a more solid material, less likely to crumble. And I think milliput is similar. I think milliput can be drilled, right? It's pretty hard.
Yeah, it's I don't. If you mix it well, I don't. I can't tell much of a difference between the epoxy sculpt I got here and. But you have to mix it a lot longer than green stuff or mini or epoxy sculpt.
Yeah.
But if you do, it will also get really solid and yeah.
Oh, the other thing that honestly this is pathetic, but 50% of the reason that I mix green stuff with epoxy sculpt is that I really like using epoxy sculpt, but it does this like silt thing where like the silt will come off of it with water. But if you mix up your green stuff first, you envelop your epoxy sculpt in the green stuff, and then you mix your epoxy sculpt inside of the green stuff, you don't get that gross silt on your fingers, which is like a tiny little thing, but I enjoy it.
Yeah,
The one thing I would add,
does the same thing.
Sorry, Will?
one thing I would add about the epoxy sculpt, which I'm using right now,
Yeah, go ahead.
is that it's a slightly water soluble, so you can kind of use water to like thin it down and like blend it down, which is kind of nice. If you want to like you need it thin it down for whatever reason to kind of spread it over like an area. So it's got some nice properties to it, but it kind of just takes some playing around with.
I think my favorite feature of epoxy sculpt when it comes to mixing with green stuff is I always used to have a lot of problems with getting green stuff to transition into like the other material you're sculpting on top of. There was always be that kind of little lip between the two materials because of the solubility, the water soluble nature of epoxy sculpt. It kind of adds that property to the green stuff, and it makes making those smooth transitions between green stuff and plastic or resin or metal or whatever it is a lot easier to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shane. Apparently Dan
we got another one.
Smiley wants to join the yacht club.
From Dan Smiley.
Oh damn. Okay. Well, what up?
He's getting close to the yacht club, man. Holy cow. Dan. So Dan Smiley says, "Are you just pinning? What about a wireframe prior to building? I know things must be pinned as well, and then you can build around those areas. I just love watching someone sculpt." Dan, I'm sorry I'm not doing much sculpting right now. I'm worried my camera's gonna die. But yeah, I say pinning because I often do conversions where I'm like building something off of an existing model. So if I was like going to build an arm or a tentacle or something coming off of a plastic model, I would drill a pin or like a wire, yeah, into the plastic model and then start working onto that. I would probably bulk up that with aluminum foil first, just right over the wire, because it's very hard to put green stuff straight onto a wire. Kajan, you're not trying to do it right now, are you?
I'm actually going to sculpt an entire arm.
Well, there we go. So as Kajan is demonstrating, it's hard to wrap the green stuff around just a wire because the wire is like slippery and you can like push it around and kind of mess it up. So you either need to bulk it out roughly and just put it down and let it cure. I love how he's doing what I'm saying, exactly what I'm saying it. It sounds like that's my picture or something. Unless you just like take the wire, roughly bulk some green stuff around it, let it completely set, and then go back and like carve it down and like fix it. What I would do normally is that I would take a wire, and if it's a big, thick copper wire that you're using as like an armature, you can take a smaller, very thin copper wire or something like that.
Like I'm showing on screen right now.
There we go. Yeah, look at Kajan. And twine that around the larger one. And then you can add a little bit of super glue to kind of keep it there. But that gives that surface of that bigger wire and something to grip onto the green stuff. Alternatively, depending on how big you're working, you can get aluminum foil and similarly wrap it around the wire so that then the green stuff will like shape onto the aluminum foil. So what I'll do if I'm doing it, I have the wire, I cover it with either aluminum foil or this wrapped thinner wire, or you can even like put super glue on it and sprinkle some baking soda on it, and that'll set almost sodium bicarbonate of soda. I don't know what the Europeans call it. You sprinkle that onto the super glue on the wire. It sets into this hard, like rough material. You could also sculpt onto that. So you've got a lot of options for bulking out that wire, but I would definitely recommend roughing up, bulking out that wire. Kajan?
And to add to it, as I'm not sure how good it's coming out on my video.
I'm about to make you guys way bigger because you're doing way more work than I am right now.
God, I'm enhanced.
I scored the brass wire, the copper wire I'm using for a spin and stuff like that. I'm using the pinch part of the
pliers, yeah,
and scoring into it, so it has purchase to grip onto the surface, which also works when you don't want to bulk up the wire in addition to it, but still want to keep a firm, thick wire. You can just score the surface of it.
You're right. Yeah, get a knife. You could get a file, right? You could like file rough parts into it.
File, or you the pincers I'm using right now. They have really nice jagged teeth in them, so I can just squeeze down on it, and it leaves a score mark. Nice. And that's also how I do it. It just helps to secure everything together.
Yeah. So yeah, Dan. Back to your question. If I was building something completely from scratch, I would probably bulk it out using wires with aluminum foil, maybe with some foam, and then put wires deep into that, and then start sculpting out on those. But if I'm attaching one of my sculpts to an existing model for a conversion, I would never just super glue it. I always, every time pin it. I even will sometimes go extreme. And if I'm putting together plastic pieces that aren't supposed to go together, you could cut them down to like a point where their joint is like close. I will often just pin the two plastic pieces together to make sure. So I am extra on pinning.
Internal superstructures, just generally, very, very important.
Yeah. Internal superstructure is super important when you're sculpting, because if you have like a very not strong internal superstructure and then you put all this putty on the outside, that adds weight to the outside. So it needs to be able to like support it so it doesn't break. Sorry, Will, what were you saying?
If you hunt through the pictures that I've posted probably of this malefactor Carvagon thing that I've posted on Instagram, you can see how much like I use old sprue to kind of bulk up the structure of this guy to like, because you can kind of see that I embiggened this a little bit from the original model. And yeah, you can get kind of creative with the kinds of materials you can use. And sprue, old sprue, and corks, if you enjoy a good wine or anything else that has a cork in it. Cork and old sprues are like my two favorite kind of cheap materials to bulk up any internal stuff that you might want to get a little bit more structural integrity in internally before you apply putty and everything on top.
It also helps to save costs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, you get to enjoy like.
I'm promoting my own channel on my own channel. I don't know why. I have a video on armatures. I forgot, so I just posted it in the chat. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, make sure you've seen this video of mine. Because in fact, let's all just watch together. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, what was that, Kajan?
Nothing. Just laughing.
Shane was making a comment a second ago.
Shane?
I was just saying that tinfoil is also a good option if you really want to go cheap.
Yeah, I was saying aluminum foil before. We have to have it in limey as well. Aluminium. Some aluminium foil. some tin foil. You're down in the States, or some
we won
aluminum
the war. I
foil.
can pronounce it how I want to.
What?
I said we won the war. We get to pronounce it how we want to.
Tom uses Tom says he's used scrunched up newspaper before because he likes to live dangerously.
Actually, if you made it paper mache, that would actually be actually funny enough. The giant dominatrix that I got from Papoon Crafting, he actually the very base superstructure of that model was actually paper mache.
No,
it was paper mache covered in tin foil, covered in layer after layer of epoxy clay.
Clay, not sculpt. Clay.
Yes,
Clay's heavier.
sculpt.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
she's a heavy. She's
Did
a
it
heavy
hold
bitch.
up?
She's like almost 3 pounds.
Did it hold up?
Oh yeah, yeah. She's still fine. I mean, she had like when he shipped her, it was like one of her arms cracked, and then a couple little plastic doodads, like they were like trigon antennae. They broke off, but otherwise, like she's pretty sturdy.
Nice.
I'll paint her one day.
Just like Hadia, he did not break.
I mean, that reminds me, my mother got, when we visited Spain, she would get like baked. It's not really baked. It's flour, it's salt and stuff like that, and little houses that will be painted. It's like paper mache. They're basically just baked goods you can't eat. You put them onto the wall and they get super solid if you get the proportions right, and they will not spoil. They will not spoil because of the salt content and stuff like that. And it's super, like rock hard. You can knock on a surface with it, and it will sound like stone.
Huh. We called those Twinkies here in the States.
Okay, I need to find something. Oh, is it on my blog? Because yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say, because this is kind of off topic. It's just about the model I'm working on, but the one problem I have with this is that this is technically not a bear. The base model is not a bear. It's like a giant Wolverine.
Oh.
But it kind of looks like a bear. It looks like I picked this particular model because it doesn't quite look like any Earth animal, because it's kind of a weird looking Wolverine. If it is a Wolverine, it's kind of got both features of a bear and a Wolverine.
Yeah.
So I thought it would make a good like alien bear. But the thing is, it does have like a very distinctly Wolverine tail, and I'm debating whether I want to sculpt like a bear tail or if I want to give it like some ridiculous exhausts for a tail.
Definitely a ridiculous exhausts.
Yeah, a bear tail isn't going to be much of a tail.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, if it's a cyber vampire bear, werebear, might as well like lean into like the crazy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, I swear I'm trying to find something.
I'm partial to Stegosaurus tails, like a club or something like that. But
I did debate giving him like a long, ridiculous dinosaur tail with like a mace head at the end of it, like an ankylosaurus, but I think I'm not gonna go quite that like heavy.
Just because that word is so fun to say, Thagomizer.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the Thagomizer.
Okay. This one's for Dan Kaplinger, in case I haven't done this before. Dan, if you're seeing the pictures up on my screen, this is one of my posts. Can I get the link?
Dan Smiley donated again.
I'm gonna try to put this in the chat. I don't know if this is gonna work. So this is one of my posts. This was taken from Citadel Journal. I bought the Citadel Journal just so I could get this article. I think I cost Citadel Journal number 24. Where, okay, let's find him. Someone by the name of Matt Meek, who lived in the UK, carved these out of wood and may have done some sculpting on top of them and some conversion. But this is a Tyranid Dominatrix and a Tyranid Hierophant Biotitan that Matt Meek made out of wood. So this is what you're aiming for, Dan. If you're actually, you know what, Dan? If you're taking suggestions, if you're taking requests, this is what I want to see. This right here. Oh, where the heck is it? This famous Tyranid dominatrix. If you could replicate this for me in wood, I would pay a pretty penny for it. Because this thing has lived rent-free in my mind for a long time. So if anyone knows Mark Meek, who likes to carve things, or maybe did Warhammer 1,000 years ago, Matt Meek. If you know Matt Meek, hook me up, because I would like to pat him on the back for doing these. But I just wanted to make sure I showed these to Dan. Dan tries to make Tyranids out. Okay. Are you guys still there? Just talking to
Yeah.
Josh. Okay, thank God. Thank you, Dan, for another generous gift. You're just going to hog, buddy. Went from first super chat to 1,000. I need sculpting friends. Slanesh Greater Demon. Oh, I have a tip for making nipples.
Content.
The sign is out in the studio, and I'm down in the basement. Someone once told me that if you put a little blob of green stuff on something and you dab a little bit of super glue on it, that'll make the most perfect nipples. Maybe that'll be useful for you in your Slaneshi sculpting adventures.
Now I want to try that.
Now,
there you go.
Curiosity will eventually get the better of me on that one. But
there goes the bot again. Joshua, what are you talking about? What bot? Is there a bot in the chat? Why am I not? Oh my God. Am I missing something because I'm only in top chat?
I'm not seeing any bots. What?
Oh yeah, I'm only in the top chat too. Is there different chats? I don't know.
There's live chat and top chat.
Oh, where's live chat?
It's like live gear and top gear.
How do you change it to live chat?
You go to the top. There's like a drop down, or I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Can only I do that? Oh look, I can go to just fan funding. Let's see what's in the fan funding chat. Oh, it's just Dan Smiley. Although I can see that Dan Smiley has contributed 17 Canadian dollars in fan funding this evening. So I believe he is like 1/3 of the way to the yacht club.
Yacht club.
So thank you, Dan Smiley. Oh, Josh Reyna was making a joke because I was like plugging my own videos in my own videos. That is a pretty bot thing to do. Yeah, Dan Smiley, we have this random thing. Because High Fleet Moloch, who used to be on the Creature Conference stream, he would always joke when someone gave a super chat, like, "Oh, it's money for my yacht." So we founded the High Fleet Moloch Yacht Club, which is for people who donate more than, I think I said $50 American in super chats, and there's only like 3 members. It's like, no, 4. Josh Ornaleus, otherwise known as That Croot Guy, because he gave me a generous gift for my birthday as a super chat. Symbiote Joe, I think, is in the yacht club, right?
Yes.
Symbiote Joe's been in the yacht club several times over, I think.
Yeah. And then Eric Christensen, Eric Metalbeard, he's in the yacht club. I think there might be one other person in the yacht club, but I had yacht club stickers made, and I still have them. I just need to find them. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because we haven't been getting a ton of super chats.
I haven't tuned into the actual Creature Conference like in a while. What happened to Marco? Why is he no longer on the Creature Conference?
Oh, it was just getting a bit complicated, and then challenging stuff came up, and yeah, I guess I never mentioned that.
Yeah. I had not heard the news.
Yeah, you missed it because I never mentioned it, but like he hasn't been around for like months. But on the most recent Creature Conference, Hydra reported back from Eel in Essen because he was there. So he was giving us the Hydra blow by blow, and we talked a little bit about the Golden Demon, like what we thought, and that amazing Hive Tyrant from the Golden Demon that everyone's seen getting smashed by the Space Wolf. We won't talk about that. All right, I need to get this out off my chest.
It was there.
What?
At least the Hive Tyrant was there.
So before I just realized that this thing was totally doxing everyone in my Discord chat. I lost. There are too many windows. All right, there we go. We got. Before Dan Smiley throws more money at us, I just want to get through some randomness that I wanted to mention. This Neil Stevenson Polo Stan thing has been up here all stream because I don't even have my because Neil Stevenson's coming out with a new book, and I believe this book comes out on. It came out this. I think it came out on the 15th. I think it came out yesterday. I am now a hippie, so I get my books from the library. So I have asked the library to put this to order me in one of these to read, and I didn't think that was going to work with new releases, but then I've done that for like the last 2 new releases from authors who I like reading. So yeah, I'm waiting for this to come in. Apparently, it's the first part of a trilogy that he's calling Bomb Light, and it's something about the development of the nuclear like, atomic bomb. But it sounds a bit like, if you're familiar with the work of Neil Stevenson, the Baroque saga, where it's like this big epic story told over 3 books, and it starts like in the distant history and maybe comes further forward. This sounds like that kind of thing. Or like what's going on in some of Cryptonomicon, where he's jumping between periods. So this feels like it's going to start historical, but I hope that at the end it gets sci-fi, because Neil Stevenson does some of the coolest like near future sci-fi that I've read, and that's his work that I love best. He did Snow Crash.
Maryland.
If you know Snow Crash, sorry,
he's from Maryland. I did not know.
Really?
That.
He is? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
from and all my favorite people are from Maryland / Baltimore. They're the same place, right?
I mean, sure, why not?
Thank you.
That depends on which Marylander you ask.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's oh man, I love Neil Stevens. Oh shit. God damn. Dan just joined the yacht club.
The yacht club.
Can I do like a thing? Like, can I do anything?
$40.
Good
Jesus.
golly, Miss Molly. How do I
you're rolling in the dough?
I'm just gonna promote Dan Smiley straight to moderator. In fact, I'm just gonna hand over the channel. Oh, I can put you in timeout. I can hide you. How the hell does it give me that option?
But it is also Canadian dollar, so that's like metric money, right? Like I don't know how that works.
No, I said 50. He made it over 50. I think he made it over 50 US. He's donated like, wait, let me go into the fan funding chat and find out. Dan Smiley has very generously forked over $57 Canadian. Let's
What
a bro.
We haven't even gotten to our normal like tangents like for tonight yet either.
Yeah,
we're actually
he hasn't even seen the good shit. Okay,
listen.
That's close to $50 Canadian, but I'll allow it. Dan Smiley, you should send me a. Oh God, how are we going to do this fairly? Send me an email. Wait, or like, Dan, are we like following each other on Instagram? I don't know. I need to find out who Dan is. Oh, Dan, put in if you're in the chat, and you have an Instagram handle, put your Instagram handle in the chat, and then, so you can dox yourself, and then I'll go track you down. Then I message you, so it's not random people messaging me saying they're Dan. Just because I want to send you a Yacht Club sticker, because that was super generous, buddy. Okay.
No, I'm Dan Smiley.
You liar. So, yeah, so this is the cover for Polostan, the new Neil Stevenson book. I'm getting really excited about this because I really like Neil Stevenson. Snow Crash was the first one of his books I read, which I think is pretty accessible. He also has an amazing book called Seven Eves, which may be a movie soon. Seven Eves is about trying to preserve humanity with current era spacefaring technology, International Space Station. So that one gets a little dark, but also for my Southern Reach buddies, people who are down with the people who are down with the annihilation sickness, Jeff Vandermeer's got a new book coming out. If you haven't heard of Jeff Vandermeer, he is the guy who wrote Annihilation, or the book that Annihilation was based on, the film. Book and film, a little bit different. The director famously said that what he tried to make with the film was what he remembered the book feeling like. I think they're both pretty good, but there's 2 more books in the Annihilation trilogy, and then he's announced that now he's releasing a 4th. So, if you're into it,
Neat.
that's coming out next week, October 22nd.
I really enjoyed the movie, and I read the first book actually after I saw the movie, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it is very different. But I like them both.
Nice. No, me too. I'm in the same place that I like them both.
Different
God.
reasons.
We're just doing
Dan
since we're
Smiley
just
just
doing.
donated again.
Oh,
All right,
Another
we're
$5.
cutting you off,
there
Dan.
we go, buddy. There we go. We know it's for real. We know it's for real because he put it. Look at this. Look at this, guys. I'm shocked.
As they
Mr. Moneybags over here.
We back in the day we used to call it Uncle Money Trousers.
oh, stupid pointy plastic teeth. Ah, just it's like stepping on the goddamn Lego. Ouch.
Yeah, I was shaving off resin
found
pieces
an
from this bear the
account.
other day, and there must have been like one piece that was just like particularly sharp, and it fell onto my chair, and I got up to go grab something to drink,
Oh,
and then I
no.
sat back down, and it just stuck into my ass. It hurts
Oh
so bad.
no! Okay, Dan, the correct response is you're right. I really like you. I just messaged Dan on Instagram. Okay. Sorry. Since I'm getting into Media Land tonight, apparently, if you read The Expanse, you probably recognize the name James S.A. Corey. James S.A. Corey, I think I touched on it earlier in the year, released the first book of a new series. The new series is called Prisoner's War, and the new book is called Captive's War. The series is called Captive's War, and the new book is called Mercy of Gods. Finished reading that book. It was pretty cool. This is the novella that they released after that novel, and this actually came out at the beginning of October. So it's something you get. It's a digital novella. You pay like $1 for it or $2 for it. You can read it on your phone, but this is their kind of model that they'll release a book, then they release a novella, and they release a book, and they release a novella. So it's kind of like a long chapter of the next book, which is neat, I think. So I bought this. I've started reading it, but it actually surprising turn on after the end of the first book. So if you weren't aware that the authors behind The Expanse had a new series coming out, it has nothing to do with The Expanse, although I have theories and we'll talk about that later. But it's allegedly nothing to do with The Expanse. It's far more like high sci-fi, distant future, super advanced technology stuff. And they described it themselves as a mix between Dune and Frank Herbert and Ursula K. Le Guin. So kind of those blended together.
That's a fascinating combo there that I wouldn't.
Yeah, that is an interesting combo.
Well, I think it's like the space opera thing, real aliens. I don't know, but there's a new series that you can check out if you're into their books. The first book, I would say it starts slow. It gets better towards the end. You might enjoy it more if you have some experience working in labs with like lab teams and research stuff. There's a lot of that in the beginning of it, which I was not interested in. But yeah, once everything goes to hell, that's when it starts getting interesting, I guess. Oh man, Don Oliver Merchu's here. Welcome, buddy.
What up, Donald?
Oh, and I'm sorry you don't have the motivation, man. I'm hurting on motivation.
Happens, man. Happens to all of us.
Tom Wilson said I enjoyed the bear from Annihilation. That bear is really.
Oh yeah, the bear from Annihilation is the best part by far.
Oh shit. And I
Not
just saw that Dan's
watch
not feeling so
more.
hot. Well, Dan, thanks for hopefully you're getting some joy out of partying with us because yeah, I think that was the last thing that I wanted to plug from a media angle. I mean, I can talk about the books I've been reading. Oh my god, what am I doing?
This is like remarkably on par for a work in
Really? I
progress,
think
but
we're a little off the mark. Okay, so so you can save yourself the time. This is the very serious looking Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is his most recent. God damn it! This is his most recent book in the like Children of blah 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 series. It's called Children of Memory. It came out a couple of years ago, but I started reading his stuff with Children of Time, which is the one that was like really highly praised. And then I went on to Children of Ruin, which was actually pretty good. I didn't love Children of Time. I like Children of Ruin more. And then this is the third book, Children of Memory. It's not really a trilogy because he keeps saying that he's not going to make another one, and then he does. So, whatever. This is the dude. And I finished reading this book this week. It took way too long to get to its conclusion. You knew that something wasn't right with the world very early on, and then it went on and on and on, reinforcing that something's not right with the world. It's like, dude, I get it. Tell me what it is. Oh, but something's not right with this, and this character keeps coming back. You're like, yeah, okay, buddy, like get to the point. So it took way too long to get to the point, and then it got to the point, and then it belabored the point for a while. And then like literally in the last 10 pages, it was like, oh, that's a pretty interesting idea. And then I'm like, oh, and the book's done. So
turns out they're all Jedi.
whatever. They were all Jedi in the end.
It was all a dream.
Patrick Duffy was still alive.
This has been the book that I've been waiting to get from the library for the longest, and I don't really know why. But like, I put in this request like months and months and months ago, and the Toronto Public Library was basically like, yeah, the book's coming. And I'm like, when? They're like, we have no idea, but it's coming. And I'm like, okay. It says it has 0 holds on it, and you have 1 copy. Is that the copy you're sending me? And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's coming. It's coming. It'll be there eventually. So like, I've had this thing on hold for literal months, and I've been the only hold for literal months. And there's only 1 copy, and it finally came through to me. So this is a Canadian science fiction author by the name of Peter Watts. If you can tolerate like kind of science heavy stuff and really want like a really good aliens book, like unknowable weirdness. The first book I read by Peter Watts is called Blind Sight, and it's a little bit famous in science fiction literature. Copy I have. This, I think I've talked about Blind Sight before on stream, but the coolest part about Blind Sight for me is that it gave a scientific explanation of vampires. And I was like, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Like, scientific explanation for why you would want vampires on your intergalactic mission to some weird thing in the outer solar system. And that's not even the alien part. There's a separate alien part that's totally different. But like in the vein of like Rendezvous with Rama and like the whole like
Spree.
What is it? Is it Ringworld by Larry Niven?
Larry Niven. Yeah.
Unknowable aliens, like indifferent aliens almost. Like this is something in that vein. But the way I've described Peter Watts before is that he's like a van like shooting like 60 kilometers per hour, whatever, 60 miles per hour down the street. And you can grab onto that van, but you better hold on because he's going places. And he like explains it while he's going, but it's not the kind of thing where you're like, wait, did you just say what you thought I said? Oh, wait, you're already on to the next thing. So yeah, it's probably more rewarding if you like have stomach for some like higher science fiction, but it still has like a narrative that builds and a story that pulls you along. But that's a very good book by Peter Watts. So I've read a couple of his other books, but I'm interested to read the Starfish one, which I think is about them building these like factories at the bottom of the ocean. I think they're like geothermal plants, and to staff the geothermal plants, they get a bunch of like convicts or something and press them into like indentured labor staffing these because it's such a dangerous environment. They're not really worried about if these people die. So a little questionable, but I'm looking forward to reading it.
A little bit
That checks out.
dystopian there.
Sorry?
Dystopian. Like modern day.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
we're
didn't
living
think I
in a
was into the
dystopia,
science
so.
fiction, but I've been reading a lot of science fiction.
If you like Peter Watts, the only thing I've read by Peter Watts was The Things. He did a really interesting. It's kind of either you love it or you hate it, but he did basically a retelling of The Thing from the perspective of the alien.
What?
Yeah, it's really good. It's
Oh my
entertaining.
God, I didn't know
I
about
like the book a
this.
lot. It's like it's like a short story. It's not really a full book, but it's good. I recommend it.
Cool. I just pulled it up here. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know this. Oh, it got nominated for a Hugo Award.
Yeah, it was really good.
Good work, buddy. Anyway,
some people weren't a fan of it because it does kind of dispel some of the mystique around the thing. But
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not technically canon. It's just like he basically did a fan fiction and published it. So, you know,
I
it
mean,
doesn't
he did call it
upset anything.
Reginald, which was really weird.
Yeah.
So he's a Canadian author who I discovered through Blindsight and am now looking forward to reading Starfish. And I read the other one, Firefall or something. It's like the continuation of Blindsight, but it was too long between reading the two books, and I was kind of like, wait, what happened with the thing and the stuff? But he's a pretty cool sci-fi author. And I don't know if I'm going to do any Hobbit tonight. I haven't cracked anything yet.
I have glued the bear's head on.
Oh crap! Well, before I get to hobby, let's talk about the thing I wanted, which is taking big steaming dumps on Games Workshop for being silly. I literally just saw this before we started the stream, so this is fresh for me. I saw that on Warhammer Community they were like, "Hey, look, you got a new Kill Team starter set of Space Marines and Plague Marines," and I'm like, "Oh, I like Kill Team. I've been Plague Marine curious before. What's this all about?" So it's weird because they've already like shown off the Hivestorm thing, which is like the experts version of the Kill Team starter, and apparently this is like the beginner's version of the Kill Team starter because it comes with like terrain and stuff, and the miniatures are easy to build. They're push fit, and I guess they did this when the first Kill Team box came out with Krieg and the Orcs. They did this weird thing where they're like, yeah, here's the whole box, but if you want the whole box without the orc terrain, it's like way cheaper. And I was thinking about getting that, and I should have gotten it. But it was just like a cheap way to get into the game. So I guess they're trying that again, but they're using different miniatures for it. And you're like, oh, Space Marines and Death Guard. I wonder where they could be from. Oh, I don't know. Oh, look, it's got terrain and all that kind of stuff. And I like checked out the models. Do these models look familiar to anyone?
Yeah, aren't they the Space Marine heroes?
You're darn tootin', Fig Newton. These are the super limited Space Marine heroes that were only released in Japan at first, and then Games Workshop kind of brought them back here, and you could buy kind of the whole box, whatever. But these things were like hen's teeth. They were going for so much. They were so hard to find for a while. My buddy Zolak went to like a bunch of different GameStops or something to try and get all those Ultramarines because they were like a kill team that you could actually field, but you could only get them in like these blind boxes. So he did that. So yeah, people went to great lengths to get these miniatures. I just ordered the Nurgle ones from Japan, Amazon, which was super easy. And then my brother got me the Sorcerer because that one was hard to get because it came with a paint set. But these are great models. Like I love these. These are some of my favorite Death Guard they've ever made. But I was just looking at this and thinking like, oh man, if I was someone who had really gone out of my way to get these models or had like paid a premium on them, how dumb would I feel that Games Workshop is not only just putting these on sale, they are putting this in the starter set for something. So probably like cheapo discounted. But anyway, one thing you need to know is that this guy in the back left, this Death Guard, has the greatest Chaos head ever. It's like half skull, half alive with a horn coming out of it. It's really freaking cool. I love these models. But yeah, there you go. If you want to get into Kill Team, there's a new Kill Team starter set. The one cool thing here that's new, this terrain that they show here, I thought that was cardboard. It's MDF.
It looks like MDF.
But like Games Workshop doesn't use MDF. I guess they could like print it easy in China or something.
That's interesting.
Because that's technically heavier than cardboard, right?
That's a lot heavier than cardboard.
Yeah, it's a lot heavier and more sturdy.
Yeah, but I mean, like it would cost more to ship out in the box, unless it's like the box. I don't know. But they did say that you can like take it apart and put it back together again and pack your terrain flat. I think this is really cute. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the box. This like MDF. This MDF terrain, I think is really cool. And it's printed with like texture and stuff. Great.
Oh man, I am never going to be able to sufficiently replicate what I just did on this side.
Oh no, don't try. Just I don't know. What do you guys think of this? I don't know if you even care about limited edition models.
I mean, I as somebody who has fallen into that trap before, where it's like the FOMO, buy the expensive thing on eBay, and then oh look, Games Workshop is re-releasing it. Yeah, I think it's just the nature. It's just kind of the name of the game, and the way I look at it is like, well, at least I got it before everybody else did. I got to enjoy it before the other people did. Actually, I had a buddy of mine who spent an exorbitant amount of money on the Chaos spawn, the giant Forge World Chaos spawn that they just re-released in the old world. He spent
Yeah.
like $300 on it. It's $80 now on the
Oh
Warhammer the old world.
no.
Yeah, so it's a great model, but like, I mean, Games Workshop just like, or Forge World just would randomly put things last chance to buy with no notice, and then they would be sold out like day of, and then you go on eBay and they're like commanding ridiculous prices. Like I remember when they put all the Legion specific Contemptor dreadnoughts last chance to buy, they sold out like immediately, and then you would go on eBay, they were selling for like 6 times the price that Forge World was originally selling them for.
Yeah. So I guess the thing is with this, like it could be seen as like scalpers. Screw you, scalper. Like you can't make money off of this anymore. But hold on a second. I think the dog needs me.
Oh no.
He's acting a little weird. I'll be right back.
Remember, people, never enable scalpers.
Unless you're having to buy the Blackstone Fortress Zode expansion, because at that point, it's pretty much the only way you're going to get one.
Well, considering that I just picked up the Omble box from like whatever, I don't remember what the hell that like little box set is that they're selling for Barnes and Noble for like $35. And I know for a fact that for a stretch of time they were selling that Omble for like $60 just by itself.
Yeah.
Not even like all the cool models and stuff, including that like sweet fruit hunter, whatever the hell it was called. Like yeah, so like I don't know, I like yeah, I'd like it right now, but at the same time, obviously just making myself like other crap that is gonna entertain my time. Stuff, so
I just wish they would re-release the Zote. Like
oh my
the
god,
Zote just like disappeared one day. Like I was putting off buying it because like I was like, well, I don't really need it right now. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I get an itching to have Zote in my collection. And I go check their website and the entire Blackstone Fortress section is gone. I'm like, oh, well shit. And then I go on eBay and sure enough, oh, $150.
Oh god,
lovely.
I'm sorry.
So I'm hoping they re-release it like they did for the Amble.
They probably will. So I'm not. What I
I'd be
really
shocked
want
if they
is a. You know what they need? A goddamn Zote kill team. I would buy the shit out
Just
of that.
all 5 of them.
You know
Zotes.
what they need? 40k Underworlds. please.
Is
So
that
we can get
Blackstone Fortress?
these random little,
Yeah, I agree.
teams of
I
cool
agree,
looking
Shane.
characters.
Tom Wilson says same thing happened to me over the Zote. So it sounds like he was going to get it. Oh, bye, Donald and Merchu. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, Radon. I missed Radon taking off. Good night, Donald. Good to see you.
I'll be right back.
Hope everything goes well with your early start. Okay. Oh, the other random thing I wanted to mention is that Nora was like, I want to go see this movie called The Substance. It's body horror. I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, you don't want to know more about it? I'm like, should I know more about it? She's like, well, people have said you shouldn't know that much going into it. But I was like, okay, I trust you. Let's go see it. So it has Demi Moore in it. And oh my God. I swear to God, Demi Moore is as hot now as she was when I was a teenager. I can't believe it. She also looks weirdly like God, what's her name? Who played Monica on Friends?
I never watched Friends.
Come on.
I know who you're talking about, but
Why are we looking at Demi Moore?
Courtney Cox.
Courtney
That's
Cox,
right.
thank you.
I know Courtney Cox from Scream. That's what I mostly remember
Like,
her from.
I messed it all up. Does this not kind of look like Courtney Cox?
No, that looks like Demi Moore.
Shut up.
No, it looks like Demi Moore.
Shut up. Here's the worst. Anyway, she's in this movie. You see a lot of her in this movie. Like, you go someone who probably wouldn't be naked in a movie normally. And like I said, Demi Moore's as hot now as she ever was. But it was an interesting movie, and I wanted to bring it up. I don't know that I recommend it. If you like if body horror to you reads like gore, kind of. I don't know. It wasn't my movie. Nora loved it. She thought it was amazing. It makes commentaries on like the nature of like beauty and beauty products and stuff like that. But it is a science fiction-y horror thing. It was a decent movie. I don't know if I recommend it. Decent movie. But when you talk about feeling so sad for the big rubber monster at the end of The Fly, spoiler alert! You might be sad in this movie too, because some stuff happens. But
oh God, Jeff Goldblum's in it.
Shh, don't spoil it.
So the first thing I'll say is that I am always hesitant to spend any money on a movie that Dennis Quaid is in, because I think every movie I've ever seen that features Dennis Quaid has been not good. The vast majority.
So
not all of them, but the vast majority.
If you hate Dennis Quaid, you're gonna hate him a lot in this movie. He's like a character who's made to hate in this movie.
Yeah, like I don't hate Dennis Quaid as a person. I just feel like he's like a curse that every time he's in a movie, the movie's not good.
One thing I will not fault this movie is that the cinematography is extremely interesting. Extremely interesting. Like, if you just watch this movie for the shots, it would be an interesting movie. There's creature design in here. I won't get any further into it than that. There's also some cheap shots, like trying to paint a character in an unflattering light by having them do disgusting things with food, like that kind of stuff. Like, there's a bit of that, which pisses me off. That's one of my pet peeves, but it was an interesting movie.
That goddamn tomato.
Yeah, basically Denethor. Like, there's a Denethor scene in this, and I'm like, oh, fuck, did you have to? It just seems like a cheap shot. It's like, I can't be bothered to do the legwork to explain to you why this character is reprehensible. I'm just gonna show them eat something really gross in a really gross fashion, and you'll know they're a bad guy, and we'll be able to move on. So I think that's a cheap shot. Denethor, I think it worked for the scene. Like, something very mournful was happening.
I mean, but Denethor's whole character was kind of
arch.
Yeah, I mean, like, from hardcore Lord of the Rings book readers, one of the biggest complaints I've heard is how they handle Denethor's character. I don't mind it, but I do get where they're coming from.
I thought he was kind of out of it in the books.
I mean, he's a lot more. It's a lot more understandable why he's doing the things he's doing. He doesn't seem like just a sniveling crazy guy. The one thing I didn't like in the movie is that I think they could have like explored or at least explained that the reason that Denethor kind of went nuts was because he had a Palantir and Sauron was basically whispering to him all the time. So,
Oh
you know, if you
yeah.
had an eldritch entity whispering in your ear 24/7, you'd probably be a little crazy.
Yep. Gotcha.
But in the movie they just kind of made him look like a douchebag that doesn't love his youngest son.
Hmm.
Man, he also was that, but
I mean, yes, but his character is a lot more nuanced than that in the book. So I do understand why people complain about Denethor in the movies, but I mean, the movies are still masterpieces, so
True.
it's a forgivable sin.
Yeah, I didn't hate him. Like it felt weird to me the way he was portrayed in the movie, but I didn't hate him.
Denethor was one of the few like gray characters in the Lord of the Rings. Like Tolkien really liked in the Lord of the Rings to have this really strong delineation between good and evil, and Denethor kind of straddled that line, which
Yeah.
I think was made his character very unique.
Tom Wilson, don't buy the Blood Bowl Zote to convert. That thing is a big old hunk of resin that I don't think looks that good. I think I'm sorry, Will, close your ears. But I think the Black Fortress, Dark Fortress, what the heck was it called? Blackstone Fortress.
Blackstone Fortress.
Thank you.
Blackstone Fortress.
The Blackstone Fortress Zote, I think, is the best design that we've seen for a modern Zote. I feel like the Blood Bowl one is very.
Why would I have to close my ears to hear this?
I don't know. Maybe you love all Zotes equally, and you'd hate me for saying the Blood Bowl Zote is not.
I mean, I like it, but at the same time, I totally understand, like, you know, its shortfalls, and yeah, it's also a giant chunk of resin. So, you know, and it's more specifically Games Workshop resin. So, you know, it is to be shunned. Shunned.
The pose
that
is
piece
a
of
little bit Blood Bowl specific too. I would think it would be a lot of work. It wouldn't just be like give him a gun arm.
isn't
you
it
know, I
like
think it
diving
would be
into
a
the
lot of work.
ground? Like, isn't it literally face
Yeah,
planting?
he's like rushing
Charging-
forward. He looks like
charging
a
forward.
linebacker.
But he's also got a bunch of like leather straps and like iron rings and shit.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
it's not a straightforward conversion, and it'd be one of those things where like, you know, I thought this was going to be an easy swap, and I spent 20 hours sculpting over everything that I had to like file down.
Wait, did you buy that Zote?
No, I thought better of it, and I was like, I'm just told myself I was going to sculpt my own
Yeah.
notes with blackjack.
Oh, damn. Donald Murchew saw The Substance. I didn't realize that. So he said The Substance was one of the most beautifully shot movies I have watched in a while. I guess because I put this up a while ago. Okay, so Donald Murchew knows what I'm talking about with the fly thing. This is like a circular reference thing. Huh?
I thought for a second, I was like, it's not a Darren Aronofsky film, is it?
No, it's not. Oh, damn it. So I was trying to refer to Donald Murchew's comment where he talks about crying for the big robbery monster. I thought he was talking about The Fly, but I think he was talking about The Substance. Oh, shit.
Maybe he was talking about both.
Sorry, Donald. And then he left. Oh, God. Missed it. Well, Donald, I hope you come back and watch this later, even though you probably won't. Now I understand what you're talking. Just catching up with Dan Smiley because I haven't seen him. I agree with the observation that motivation is a wave that passes through us. It's not ours to harness. My favorite story was that the ancient Greeks referred to inspiration as the kairos, and apparently it was personified as this fat little man who's bald except for a shock of white hair that stood straight up off his head, and that he would go running past you, and you had to reach out and grab inspiration by the forelock. You had to grab that little sucker, put him down in your page, and that I was taught that in an impressionable age in university, and it like colonized my brain for a while. I think I even wrote that kind of character into like this novel I was trying to write. Anyway. Yeah, so that's the kairos. That's the Greek idea of inspiration.
Pretty sure I've seen that person in life, and I think his name was Steve. Do not want to grab him by that hair.
Oh man, I'm missing all the good comments. Donald Murch, you said that watching your stream does help me to get motivated to paint. That's really cute. Thanks.
Oh, as I tell the missus, I like using these streams as a dedicated amount of time to actually get some hobbying done. Do stuff. I mean, apparently I've given myself endless amounts of sculpting work and projects to do because why would I make my life easy by just doing simple kit bash and like bit swaps, right?
Because that's lame.
Because it's more fun this way.
Oh, also,
Uh,
Donald Murchu saying that highlighting Tyranid Carapace is nightmare. Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm going back in time.
Meanwhile, every time I think about highlighting Tyranid Carapace, I think of our Discord compatriot High Fleet Mantis and all of the piping that he does for all of his paint jobs, which
Oh
beautiful
yeah,
as they
that's
are.
a bit
And y'all
much.
should, if you guys don't follow Mantis, you should because his stuff is gorgeous. But oh my god, I would my eyes would just be dead by now if I had to do the level of detail that he does
Yeah, I
on
just
his
wouldn't
paint
do
jobs.
it because I like my eyes alive.
This is why I just drown things in enamel washes.
That works too.
That's why I
Hey,
just
dude,
don't
whatever
paint.
gets painted, I just
Or
drown things
that,
in
yeah.
contrast. Okay, so since this is where we've gone tonight, Donald Murchu, who's not here anymore, who went to bed, who's probably never going to watch this, so I'm just sending this out into the void, commented that the substance, the previous, where the hell? The Substance, see previous slide, was one of the most beautiful shot movies he's ever seen in a while. I would submit to the class that the most beautifully shot movie I've seen in my entire life, probably, is The Fountain, which is a Darren Aronofsky joint, Shane.
Oh.
The finest Darren Aronofsky joint that ever rolled off the friggin' cinema floor. So this, okay, it's about a tree, and I had a thing about trees. And I had a weird experience with this movie where I saw one scene from the movie. Probably going to be in the pictures if I pull them up. I saw one scene of the movie. This scene right here. I don't even know where. Of a man walking across a lake towards a tree, with the sun silhouetted behind it. I saw this in one of those pre-previews that happened before the previews in a cinema. And I was like, I must find this movie, but I had no idea what it was called. So I literally started searching tree, lake, whatever, and looked up every movie that was released in 2006. Literally, there's a listing where you can look at every movie that's being released in 2006. So until I found this and I saw it, and it blew me away. It was supposed to be a giant, big budget movie that was going to be shot in Mexico with like Brad Pitt and someone else as the leads. That fell through. They wound up shooting it on a soundstage in Montreal and like a little bit around Montreal. All of the effects are practical, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Like, I don't know if you guys followed Christopher Nolan and like Oppenheimer, and they talked about how like all the effects in Oppenheimer were practical, and they made like the weird patterns by like blowing shit through water. Did you hear about any of this?
I mean, I know
but then, like,
Christopher Nolan almost always uses practical effects when he can.
Okay, so that was in like
everyone,
what?
I think everyone joked with Oppenheimer's like, wait, he loves practical effects. Oh shit, he's just gonna set up an A-bomb.
Okay. But like the stuff that they were doing in Oppenheimer in 2023 was like totally not pioneered because people have been doing it for years probably, but it was a fixture of The Fountain to like show like nebulae and like space and stuff. It's a weird movie. It's an art movie. It's told in 3 different time periods: the year 1506, the year 2006, and the year 2506. And my boy Hugh Jackman, oh, what a dreamy boy. Hugh Jackman
Ozzy,
and
oi,
Rachel.
oi, oi.
What?
Oh no, I'm just saying Ozzy, oi, oi, oi.
Oh, So Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz play the two central characters in all three timelines, except for in each timeline they play different characters, but they have a similar relationship. Like in the present timeline, he's a researcher trying to cure this form of brain cancer, which, spoiler alert, they tell you in the first 5 minutes, his wife has. So he's trying to save his wife played by Rachel Weisz. In the 1500s, he plays a conquistador, and Rachel Weisz plays Queen of Spain, I think. And like the Inquisition's coming and stuff. So he's like trying to find the fountain of eternal youth in the New World. And then I won't tell you what happens in the future because spoilers. But yeah, the movie is told in these three different time periods, but I think it's told beautifully. And the central orienting story is the present day one, where the husband is trying to cure his wife of this fatal cancer, and like how he reacts to the situation, how she reacts to the situation. Oh, sorry, it's gorgeous. Not only is it the most beautifully shot movie I've ever seen, I love the soundtrack. It's very like stringy and like ominous. It's not like a chill background track. It's like a energy kind of soundtrack. But yeah, also my favorite soundtrack. So if you want a beautifully shot film, Donald Omerchu, who's definitely still not here, check out The Fountain, because that would be high recommendations. Apparently that's just what we're
The
doing.
premise sounds like Cloud Atlas.
Sounds like a little
Ew,
bit like it, yeah.
no, do not mention this piece of work in the same sentence as that. Yeah. Because Cloud Atlas is actually linked. This is like,
What do you mean?
is it linked? Is it not? It's not perfectly clear.
So it's more pretentious. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, it's more
With Darren
artistic.
Aronofsky, that makes sense.
No, I would say that Cloud Atlas is a bit, I don't know. To me, Cloud Atlas felt pretentious and Fountain felt artistic.
Well,
It
I don't know.
insisted upon
I think
itself.
I think I've talked about before how I am not a fan of Darren Aronofsky.
Based on what? Based on which
how
films?
I just think he stands on the shoulders of more talented people than himself, and then just adds his own flair.
Is this
to
because of
stories
Black
that were told better in the
Swan,
first place?
fucking Perfect Blue shit?
Yes.
I haven't seen
100%.
anyone do up anything like that about Aronofsky for The Fountain. So maybe check it out.
I mean, I've watched, like, I watched The Whale. Like, I'll watch his movies.
The Whale destroyed me. But that's because I have a family member.
I just don't think he's like, everybody
film.
acts like he's God's gift to cinema, and I think he's a little overrated personally.
Well, I wouldn't describe him that way. I would just say that he does interesting things. That's what I want. I want interesting things.
Yeah,
Like,
that's me with Chris Nolan these days.
You think he's overrated?
I think Christopher Nolan is very overrated.
He's had some really good movies, and like, you know, I think he's got some great
you guys
stuff.
you guys are on a roll, man. You just keep getting me thinking of things that that I want to recommend. So speaking of Christopher Nolan having really good ideas, I was gonna say The Prestige.
Yeah, I think the problem is that he's gotten big enough that like he doesn't get a lot of oversight from other people.
Yeah,
and he kind of gets up his own ass sometimes.
This is how I feel about Neil Gaiman.
Was the
this is how I feel
most
about
boring film I've ever watched in my life.
What?
Which movie?
Dunkirk was the single most boring film I've ever watched in my life.
I cannot defend that.
It was so fucking boring.
I agree.
And like I can't fathom how this film got past test audiences and nobody was like, nothing fucking happens in this movie. There's no sense of urgency. Every character just seems to be moseying about their lives.
Yep.
And you somehow manage to make World War II dogfights boring.
So I agree. I am like a Nolan fanboy. I am so far up his back garden gate, like it is ridiculous. I enjoyed Oppenheimer. I don't think it was that good. I was bored by Oppenheimer at points too. Like I loved like Johnny Depp and like his performance. No, fuck. Sorry, I always do that. Not Johnny Depp. Who's the other one? Who played Iron Man? Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
I confused the two of them. I don't know why. Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Oppenheimer was amazing. I loved him. And like people were hilarious. Like I even thought Matt Damon's character was hilarious. But like, and I love silly Cillian Murphy, but just it was a bit boring.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, so I can't speak to that.
It's not great.
Tenet was fucking stupid.
Tenet.
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking with that movie.
So what he was thinking with Tenet is that he did the sound mix really badly. So he was not only, and he did it intentionally. He says he did it. He said some pretentious crap about dialogue distracting from the movie or something. But when your movie has like this key science fiction thing that people don't understand, you have to explain it. And they can't hear everyone because the dialogue's kind of like, yeah, I don't even know if my mic's picking this. Like it's trash. Like you can't do that to people. So I watched the movie. I wanted to like the movie. I didn't know what the hell was going on because I couldn't hear anyone. It was the first time in my life I wish I had subtitles on an English speaking movie.
I mean, it's
oh yeah, I had to turn subtitles on halfway through the movie.
Oh, I saw it in theaters. I didn't have that option.
But because I didn't see it in theaters, I saw it when it came to HBO or whatever it was, and I even with subtitles, even with like the vaguest understanding of what the fuck he's talking about in this film, it was still hopelessly like it felt like this movie was just like this was made for those people who like to say, oh, if you didn't like it, you just didn't get it. Like, no, this movie was just made purposefully confusing. He overcomplicated a lot of fucking things in that movie, and I was just like, this felt like Christopher Nolan sucking his own dick. Like if ever he made a movie that was a display of that, it's that movie.
I think I like Tenet maybe slightly better than you did, but because that's a bit much.
Memento was good. I like Memento.
As far as I'm concerned,
Prestige is fantastic.
As far as I'm concerned, Tenet tries to be smarter than it is.
Yeah, that's a very apt description of it.
Oh, okay. Wait, sorry. I need to do this because Tom just posted some really great messages in the chat. He said, "Has anyone seen When a Monster Calls? We saw the trailer with a talking tree and took our nephew with us to see it. His grandmother had not long died of cancer, so we thought the talking tree film would be okay. No, the main character's mom was dying of cancer the whole film. The talking tree barely appeared in the bloody film."
Oh yeah.
Oh, Tom,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I could have. Yeah, that is a good movie though.
That's kind of like,
yeah, that's not.
I don't know. I don't think it was one of you guys. I think someone told me recently that they took a kid to Pan's Labyrinth because they thought it was going to be a fantasy film.
Oh no!
God.
And then the guy was like smashing glasses in people's face, and like it wasn't so good.
Oh yeah, when I went and saw fucking Watchmen back in 2009, the amount of children I saw in that movie theater whose parents
no, because they were like, it's a superhero movie. Superhero movies are for kids. I
was like, because I was a big fan of the graphic novel, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Well.
Or Deadpool. Deadpool is another good example of that.
Yeah, but I feel Deadpool trailer told you right away what it's going to be about.
I gotta see Deadpool. I still haven't seen
it. I think you underestimate how many average moviegoer parents just see superhero and think it's a kid's film.
Okay, so let me just put things in perspective, because back in the day when I was still living in New York, some friends and I went to see the ridiculous movie Zombie Strippers because it looked stupid. It's really dumb.
I don't remember that.
I love Zombie Strippers. It's a good movie.
It's a really, really stupid movie, but it's actually kind of funny. But at one point, there's like, the zombie deaths start occurring pretty quickly, but like some kids started crying. Like my entire friend group's like, what the hell? Why did you bring a child to a very clearly R-rated movie that's called Zombie Strippers? Like, at what point did you think that this was a reasonable place to bring a child into this movie? And these are the people that we're working with here. When we think about like, bringing people into like movies that like, oh no, you didn't do any research beforehand.
Diana just elaborated that
sorry.
the grandma died the day before they took them.
Oh no, that's
Oof.
terrible timing.
No.
Um.
Oh, which
And
one?
adult
and the adult nephew still
nephews.
mocks you for it. Ouch.
Yeah. But I believe you are on a time crunch tonight, Mr. Bank.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Sorry.
Seems like a
Before
really appropriate time to say that if you enjoy the stream, you should like and subscribe and leave a comment.
if you enjoy this stream, make sure to like this stream, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, because this is definitely what we do all the time, which is my co-hosts do all the real hobbying while I sit here and yell movies and books at you. So if this is what you're into, definitely subscribe. But thanks for putting up with my nonsense. I was feeling weird tonight. I wanted to paint. The models weren't far enough primed. I couldn't paint them. I thought I was going to do it after work. I had to work late. Couldn't get it done. Not a sob story. Just saying that. Felt weird tonight. So thanks for being open to listening to me banter about media that I like. And in that vein, before Shane tried to eviscerate him, Christopher Nolan made his impact on me, though I did enjoy Memento. I do know that that was like a retelling of a different film, right? Or something.
Is that Chris Nolan?
Yeah, Memento
Yeah.
blew my mind in university.
Memento is
He also
Chris
did
Nolan, yeah.
Insomnia with Al Pacino. That was a remake.
He only directed that one. Memento he wrote, Insomnia he didn't write. He just directed it.
So, though Memento made a big impact on me in university, The Prestige was the film that really sealed me for Christopher Nolan. I love this film. Of course, Hugh Jackman. I just told you I got the hots for Hugh Jackman. But it's basically about two competing magicians. Sorry, two competing magicians. It is not to be confused with The Illusionist, which came out at the same time, which I thought was The Prestige and saw and was so disappointed because there wasn't any Hugh Jackman in it. But yeah, The Prestige is about the lengths that you will go to for an illusion. Like these two magicians, the lengths that they will go to protect their secret, to achieve the illusion. And it's a dark movie, and that's why I love it. It is so dark. Like, you see the lengths that God, what is his name? Not
Jesus.
Who's the dude on the right?
Character?
Who played Batman?
Christian Bale?
Thank you, Christian
Christian
Bale.
Bale.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, he's not in that.
Christian Bale. You first see the lengths that Christian Bale will go to for the trick, and you're like, that is inhuman. And then you see the lengths that Hugh Jackman's character will go to, and you're like, oh my God. So I won't say anything more than that, but I will tell you that David Bowie is in here. Have a great fucking time. Because like,
I forgot he was in that. I don't think
totally
I've seen
forgettable,
that movie
totally
since
worth
was in
it.
Theaters.
Sorry?
I said I don't think I've seen that movie since it was in theaters.
I've watched it so many times. Of course, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, so it also has Michael Caine in it, but you know.
Right.
As one does.
I believe it's pronounced Michael
Caine. And with that, kids, we're demonetized and we're shutting down the stream.
My favorite Nolan film is definitely Interstellar, and I know that's like the basic bitch answer, but I love Interstellar.
That is a beautiful movie. Interstellar is excellent. I
think
rewatched
Interstellar
it
is by far his masterpiece, and I think like everybody talks about The Dark Knight as being his most like iconic film, but I definitely think that is the film
I think it's The Prestige,
he's going to be most remembered for. I think that's his shining to Stanley Kubrick is Interstellar. When I think Christopher Nolan, I think Interstellar.
I can agree with that.
What's that?
I can agree with that. But Christopher Nolan, it's Interstellar is what I most associate him with these days. But But also, I'm going to be again the contrarian on the stream, and I don't really like him that much. So,
Rocker. He also like he did Inception. If you know Inception, like you've probably seen one of his films.
He did what you mean to say is he did a watered down version of Paprika.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, Inception is basically just Paprika, but like misses a lot of the nuance.
Man, all these American directors ripping off the anime
Just
they
stealing
watched when they were
Japanese.
teens.
Just stealing from Satoshi Kon, really.
Hey man, I'm looking forward to when someone does a good ripoff of Ghost in the Shell or Akira.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Wachowski siblings said that The Matrix was very much inspired, actually, by Ghost in the Shell.
Interesting.
I don't see it.
I would not have guessed that either.
Like I guess Trinity kind of looks like what's her name? I want to call her Katsuragi.
Major
That's not it.
Major
Mm,
Kusanagi.
Katsuragi is her last name, I believe.
Motoko.
Motoko. Yeah, that was.
Okay.
I'm a pretty big Gits fan. I can kind of see where they got some of the philosophy from but like plot line wise, yeah, they're not really related. But I think they also kind of fed off of the cyberpunk aspect of Gits.
Yeah.
I do enjoy The Matrix. The Matrix is a good series. It's tragic.
Dude, I was this old when I realized that
film.
Gits is short for Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, Gits.
I don't
I
call
really
it
just
Gits.
kind of wish that they made like any sequels to the original Matrix movie. It was really great.
Yeah, this was a great movie. It should have deserved sequels.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't hate Matrix 2 and 3 as much as I'm supposed to, but
I love the Matrix sequels. I think y'all are a bunch of haters.
wait, have you guys seen the most recent one? Because I hate that one extra more than all of the
that
others.
that one is terrible. I pretend that one doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that one
agree with you
added
on that.
nothing to the first to the original trilogy.
No, when I started with the Jesus stuff, and I totally checked out at that point. Like, okay, thank you, was nice. See you at.
I didn't really ever get any Jesus stuff out of it, but
me neither.
Okay.
It was just bad.
Especially the end of the third movie where he's literally crucified.
No, I thought you meant in the fourth movie. I thought you meant
architect.
Jesus stuff in the fourth movie.
No, in the second and third, in the second movie he starts to be the Messiah. Yeah, I mean, the first one, he already was the chosen one, but in the second one, he really starts to be the Messiah with when he starts to interact with the people that were already rescued, and everybody looks at him as if he is Jesus come back to reality and stuff like that, and everybody tries to touch him and stuff because he's the savior. He will save them all.
Morpheus treats Neo like that the entire first movie.
Yeah, but it's only him. Everybody else is like, no, he is not. Morpheus is a little bit gaga.
I mean, they established early on that this is a prophecy. So logically speaking, there would be other people than just Morpheus that would believe in it.
Yeah, I get that, but in the first movie, it was something the majority doubted, and you had this one guy that was a hardcore believer, and he was in a position of power to push his beliefs onto the rest. He acted against his orders, he acted against the wishes of his crew, he acted solely on his faith that Neo is the one, and he wasn't the one until the very end of the movie.
Guys, I think Dan Kaplinger just settled for this for us. He said, can we talk about how Neo needs to accept a cookie when he goes and visits the Oracle's domain?
Always reject all but strictly necessary cookies. That is my.
Yeah.
Reject all goblin cookies. And then Dan Kaplinger says the Matrix does have a few shot-for-shot recreations of Ghost in the Shell. Oh,
Okay.
and No Name's here. Hi, No Name.
Oh,
Yeah, unfortunately, neatly, No Name just came in at the end of the stream.
What?
I believe it's about the end of the stream. You said something.
Yeah, we are
about
wrapping up. Sorry, No Name. We've been on a bunch of random tangents, but once we finish, I think you can just go back and listen from the start. In fact, I think you can go back and listen from the start if you're on the stream now. Yo, Dirty Birds is here. It's a full house. Holy toot. Good to see you, Dirty Birds. And Electro Dust Bunny, yes. Sharkticons are the friggin' best, and you're lucky that you live in a world that has Sharkticons you can buy. Because when I was growing up, the only Transformers you could get from the Transformers movie were like Rodimus Prime. You might have been able to get like Cup. Did you get a Hot Rod? I don't know. There's only a few. There was no Dinobot. I mean, there was no Sharkticons. So only recently have they started making Sharkticon toys. Apparently, there are people who collect Transformers toys who try to create like a full Sharkticon pit. Like they buy like 30 or 40 of this one robot so that they can recreate this scene in the movie. I can't believe it.
If we ever want to talk about Transformers, we should really have
Dachande?
Dachande on the stream.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Oh, Dirty Bird says the best one was the tape deck. Yep, Soundwave. Or if you want the good guy version, Blaster. And I think Blaster had like a kind of sort of racist accent. I'm not going to say he spoke in Ebonics, but he was getting dangerously close.
Hasbro cartoons were never the most
point Brodius.
culturally sensitive.
Okay, guys, when the alien robots come down from the skies, you're all going to need this. So thanks to our friend Brodius, we're going to teach you the universal greeting. You ready? This is the universal greeting. The universal greeting goes, Ba weep grana weep ninibon. And then you say, Ba weep grana weep ninibon. And I say, Ba weep grana weep ninibon. And then you get Weird Al and a bunch of your friends who turn into motorcycles on a junk planet. And you do a big musical dance number.
Oh, I feel like I'm missing a reference here.
This is the Transformers animated film.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that in a long time. I was never super into Transformers. I just love Soundwave.
Okay. No, I was raised on the Transformers animated film. It's the one that my father copied illegally for me, and I thought he was some kind of dark god. Did you do this? But Weird Al did part of the soundtrack. It's actually a pretty good soundtrack. You could go on YouTube and you could look up Transformers animated movie soundtrack, and you're going to get some 80s rock jams. A lot of Stan Bush, if you know Stan Bush.
You got the touch.
You got it.
Yep. You got the power.
Oh no, guys, this is getting dirty. I'm just getting too excited. I was about to bust into my best Stan Bush impression. After all is said and done, you know the rules, you know
Anyway, the people watching this stream don't deserve this, Nick.
All right.
Don't they? They know what they did.
And No Name does say that Weird Al also voiced. I have him. What's the Junkticon leader's name? I have the toy for him. He's the only Junkticon I own. Weird Al voiced him, which is pretty awesome. And they got Orson Welles to voice the Monster Planet. Orson Welles.
I mean, they got Orson Welles to pitch for like frozen peas, so like I wouldn't really like.
Okay, easy.
I think Orson Welles also famously said that like he regretted doing that.
You regret it?
Yeah, or like he thought it was like he like explicitly said, "Oh yeah, this is just a payday for me." I don't even know what the fuck was happening.
Well, what about Mr. Leonard Nimoy, who was also in there? And what about the Micro Machines guy who played Blur? Like, you know, the fast talking Micro Machines guy? He was a character in the Transformers movie.
Huh. I knew Leonard Nimoy reprised his Transformers-ness in the third Michael Bay movie.
He does?
Yeah, he plays Sentinel Prime.
Oh, Jesus, because Leonard Nimoy played Galvatron in this film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When he goes, Coronation Starscream, this is bad comedy. That's Leonard Nimoy, baby.
Well, I learn something every day.
Anyway, there's probably enough in my
As
mind.
for like hobby stuff, just a little reminder, everybody: drill your gun barrels. Drill your gun barrels.
Do it.
Do it. Even your Tyranid bio gun barrels. Make sure you drill those.
Drill them.
They got big gaping holes.
And then you have to sculpt vaguely genitalia looking stuff in the holes that you have drilled.
Put those strangle web barrels everywhere.
Rodius, I think you're right. I think it's Rekgar. Oh, strangleweb barrels that look like dongs?
Oh man, do they?
Yeah, so Orson Welles played Unicron, but I'm trying to remember what Unicron says. Unicron doesn't talk much.
No, he doesn't talk much.
Rosebud.
What does he say? Oh, shut up. Diana says best cartoon rock song theme is Denver the Last Dinosaur. And I didn't know that I remembered that, but in my head it just went, Denver the Last Dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. Is that it? Did I do it, Diana? Did I take you back to your childhood?
Denver the dinosaur in my entire life.
I'm gonna throw a Gord Downey / Al Purdy reference in here and say that singing ought to be worth some beer. From At the Quinny Hotel.
Dirty Birds, to answer your question, this was a very cinema and book heavy discussion stream tonight.
Dirty Birds, if you want a karaoke stream, you got to pay for the karaoke room, buddy. Yeah, so what happened, what you missed is that I basically went on a tangent where I was like, here's the media I've been consuming lately, or I'm interested to consume soon, into like, here is some of my formative film experiences. In fact, I think I showed you most of my favorite films of all time in The Prestige and The Fountain. I didn't talk about The Labyrinth, well, indirectly. But Transformers, we talked about Transformers. If you want to know my hobby design sense, is just Transformers in the first G.I. Joe movie when they go to Cobra La. That's the second one. I don't know. Yeah, these are my film formative experiences. Oh, that's creepy. No Name said when I was living in Toronto, my roommate was Pokeroo for a bit. Wait, I feel like I've heard that story. No Name, who are you? I feel creeped out that you lived in Toronto and I don't remember who you are. So, Dirty Birds, I was saying that The Prestige is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think one of Christopher Nolan. It's very dark. Diana says, thank you for proving to Tom that someone else knew it existed. I got you, Diana. I got your back.
What was it? Danny the dinosaur?
Denver, the last dinosaur.
Denver the dinosaur.
Yeah.
I remember a book called Danny the Dinosaur. Danny and the Dinosaur when I was a kid.
Yeah, now I kind of want to listen to some of the Cybertronic spree.
You know what? Yeah. I remember Denver the Last Dinosaur. At least visually, like I recognize him.
Does he have like high tops and like a
yeah, and he's got like these ridiculous pink glasses, pink shutter shades.
Oh, okay, this is a different dinosaur. I'm thinking of like the older brother from Dinosaurs, you know? The dinosaur show that Jim Henson did?
Oh my god. That show, I love that show for the ending. The ending just like goes so dark
Yeah.
randomly on the last episode.
Man, it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think anybody expected the kids show to suddenly have this like,
Dinosaurs
you
dying.
know, well, yeah, but like how it's like basically they die in poverty and like alone.
Here's
Wait for the TV show
here's-
Dinosaurs.
Here's the dude.
Yeah.
When you said Denver the Last Dinosaur, this is what was kicking around in my head, and I have no idea why. Oh, whoops, that's not it. Shit. Hold on. Abort. There we go. Here's the dude. Here's the dude. Oh wait, we're looking at the wrong side of the screen now. God dang it. Sorry, guys. Here's the dude. Look at this little dude. This is the last dinosaur dude that I was thinking of. Look at this cool. This is like the older brother from the dinosaurs. I don't even know what his name is. Rudy? Was his name Rudy?
It might have been Rudy.
Rudy, yeah, sounds right.
God, I have memory that I don't even know I have. Oh my. Of course Dino Sly is saying yes. Good work, Dino Sly. Ah.
Oh, I have a question. While we're talking about like
wait, first up. Wait. Dan Smiley apparently got a hard call from HR. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, Dan. Hopefully we can brighten your day.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So does anybody either here or in the chat remember a show called The Ketchup Vampires?
No, never.
Really?
Not in my life.
It was a movie. I take it back. It was a movie.
Okay, but I'm also
like
older than you.
1995.
Like, I was shocked at how young you are.
I mean, I know this TV show. I didn't know there was a.
So, Kajan, the second picture that comes up for me is Die Ketchup Vampir, which means it was probably in Germany too.
Yeah, it's a German TV show.
I didn't know it was German.
It ran from in the early 90s. But yeah, I remember that's my childhood.
Oh, that's funny. I think I only remember seeing the movie when I was a kid, but I distinctly remember it. Whenever I mention it to everybody, they're like, "What the fuck is the Ketchup Vampires?"
Well, when I look up the ketchup, it's the number 4 response on Google, but I just looked it up, so who knows if that's artificial.
I know it was an audiobook series and a TV show. It's a German TV show that ran around that time.
Was it just because someone made like a really like gory vampire show and they were like, oh man, we can't show this to children? It's like, let's just call them the ketchup vampires and it's not gonna be bloody.
They're vegetarian. They're vegetarian vampires.
No, that's just the explanation because the show was too gory for kids. It tested too gory. They needed an excuse.
And they're also eating blood sausages and stuff like that, but they don't feed on humans.
Yeah,
and
they're the vampire equivalent of a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe we've gone far enough. Oh,
Ketchup Vampires was a bridge too far.
Yeah, but we had around that time there were a couple child TV shows and book series about vampires, and that's why this was made, as far as I know. It didn't run long. Wasn't that popular. But there's around the same time there's a German book thing. The title escapes me right now. Where a kid befriends a vampire kid, and they have adventures together and stuff like that.
Cool.
It was a thing back then.
We got to call this. Friends, thank you for putting up with whatever I pulled out of my butt today. Kajan and Will, thank you for doing some hobby. Shane, thank you for suffering through my nonsense. Yeah, and I hope you. Oh, dang! Gotta tell everyone, we were supposed to do
Oh, no.
a Nick and Nora stream this weekend. Nora's got a huge assignment. We have to move it to next weekend. It's reflected in my channel. But if you look at the next stream is, you will see that you're a lucky person, because next Wednesday night at this same time, we're gonna have back-to-back Work in Progress Wednesdays. Because I screwed up our schedule. I got us off our normal schedule. So this is gonna be the thing that brings us back to that schedule, doing 2 back-to-back weeks of Work in Progress Wednesday stream. I promise to actually do hobby work next week, because I'll be 1 week closer to going to Visterion, and I definitely need to get some shit done. But yeah, and then the Creature Conference will return in 3 weeks' time on November 1st to kick off mid-November. So that will get us back on schedule. It'll be normal, smooth sailing after that. But yeah. So look forward to this same stream, same time next week. Kajan, thank you so much for coming out. You want to say goodnight?
Good night, everyone.
All right. Shane, thanks for coming out. You want to say goodnight?
Good night.
And Will, thanks for coming out. Thank you for joining. Would you like to say goodnight?
Good night, everyone.
Okay, bye everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining up. And we will talk to you soon. Goodbye from the ketchup vampires. Ooh.